How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the League starter for Yuga 2, aka Spacetime Witness Yuga. This is a build that basically was already performing at the top of everything last league, and it is basically getting a little bit of a nerf and a little bit of a buff. So overall, I think the buff is going to end up pushing it even further than it was before, and let's go over what the buff is and what the nerf is. So first things first, the Yuga 2, basically the one issue that it did run into is that it had it didn't have the highest single target, and it just came in just a little bit short. But to make up for this, they are getting a nice up to 58% multi here for their level 45 trait. This does replace, or it doesn't replace anything, but it does give them an option between the mapping trait that they are currently use now, which does just give you the ability to repeatedly move your twisted space-time more frequently. And then you are getting this just for a nice damage boost here. The one change that did come through is Mind Control did basically lose some movement speed. Not the end of the world. It's just a little bit of movement speed. It does just mean you basically want to end up taking more movement speed on the tree instead, as well as just ensuring that you have good movement speed on your boots, and just running swiftness as well as an aura early on, and then you can kind of take things off from there. So first things first, you can start using Mind Control at level 7. If you wanted to stick on the same thing all the way along, you can go ahead and do that. You will get Mind Control and Control Spell fairly early. You will also get Passivation really early. So you can stick that on there and you can be running around with this. Alternatively, you will have Frost Terra as a possibility for you at level 7 as well if you don't want the movement speed penalty. You don't have to use Mind Control itself. You could always just use Frost Terra for your dot damage instead. But that's going to come down to personal preference if you want to hit less buttons or not because of the toggle ability on Mind Control. The other thing you do want to make sure you're running is just going to be running Blurry Steps. This will basically counteract the movement speed loss from Mind Control being nerfed. And then you are just going to be wanting to run Corruption, and then you're going to end up using Haunting Abomination in order to paralyze enemies, and then in order to hit them with Wilt as well. So they've made a few adjustments to the tree. You can't really see them here on this builder because it hasn't been updated yet. But this node here on the Goddess of Deception tree here, there is now there is minus mana cost here, so you'll need to put 2 or 3 points into minus mana cost here as you go to level. They have also, these are movement speed plus I believe skill duration or something, and then these right here, same persistent skill damage with thought damage here, and then they've made a small adjustment to Forbidden Power where it's like slightly less erosion damage, but it's not much different there. Pretty much this is going to be the same. You are going to end up wanting to grab this blur per 5 stacks of Wilt inflicted further along once you actually get things going. That is part of why you end up running here with Haunting Abomination with Wilt. Haunting Abomination or any other instant Terra skill doesn't break. They will not break the auto channeling that you have for Mind Control. So this is something you can spam while you are auto channeling your Mind Control without causing it to break. Anything that does have a cast time will cause the auto channels to break, which means you're going to lose all of your channeling stacks. So you can't be using anything like that unless you have an activation medium. But you can be spamming Haunting Abomination in order to do hit damage now, to again proc your Grudge, or to proc your erosion damage, or from with added corrosion. Some other options you do have while leveling here is, excuse me, there are these boots that you can get here. They're not Wind Chasers. I'm not even seeing them in here. But they are the boots that give you 80% movement speed. Air treaders, I'm sorry, here's where they are. They give you 80% movement speed when standing on a terra skill. By spamming Haunting Abomination, you will be constantly on a terra skill. So if you get these early, you can effectively treat these as 50% MS boots, which is very, very good, given most everything else you can find is about 10%. And then you pretty much just go through. You go through the standard tree for running an affliction-based or dot-based build here, which you are taking as much affliction effect as you can possibly get. You are focusing on stacking reaping cooldown recovery here, and then reaping duration, and then levels 2 erosion. Max channeling stacks as well. This is kind of the priority of what you want on every piece of gear. And that's pretty much where you're going with everything. So with your helmet, again, you're going to be going with the same thing. Affliction effect, reaping cooldown recovery speed, and reaping duration. And that's basically along every single piece of gear. You're pretty much going with the same route as you can get it. These 3 mods basically make up the entire build. Affliction effect, reaping cooldown recovery, and reaping duration. And then on the few places where you can get it, you get your max channeling stacks and your levels 2 erosion, or levels 2 persistent, or levels 2 spells. One of the two. So that's pretty much where you end up getting your damage here on your slates. Is again your levels 2 erosion, persistent, or spells. For the last tree, they did end up making some adjustments to Shadow Master as well. This is no longer +1 passive. It is instead more sealed mana compensation here. And then you will end up wanting to pick up this node here, this further along here as you get further into the tree. So probably after level 80, you'll end up picking this erosion damage per stack of wilt, and you'll be using that with your, again, Haunting Abomination in order to get your wilt stacks. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the build. Again, I haven't gotten to test the new one yet, obviously, because it's new and it's gotten some changes to it. But overall, the build is not changing anywhere. You can kind of look and see many other people playing the build and doing things with it. It really hasn't changed very much. It's just been at the top, and it basically just needs to add a little bit of movement speed now to make up for the difference. So, yeah, first things first here as well with the supports that you can be running here. You are going to be running Mind Control with Passivation, Cataclysm, Guard, Reaping Agony, and Control Spell. Eventually, you will end up swapping out this Reaping Agony for the special support for Mind Control here. The one that, I'm not sure, I believe it's Concentrate is the one that makes it to where it will... they will take extra damage based off of, for every channeling stack you have, you do 8% additional damage. So it's another multiplier. And as you continue to stack your channeling stacks between your pack spirits and your candles and your slates, then you are obviously getting a nice big multiplier off of that, because you're already getting like 22%. Additional damage for every single channeling stack on Mind Control, and then you're adding an extra 8% on top of that. So you will end up swapping out Reaping Agony for one of those whenever you can get one, but obviously when you're leveling you don't have one. For your auras, you are just running Deep Pain early on. You do want to pick up Precise Deep Pain as soon as you can, just to get that extra affliction effect per second. These are really, really cheap now, so that's really nice. And then you're just running it again with Restraining Aura Amp. And then you are picking up Swiftness and then Erosion Enhancement as well. With the points in Shadow Master, you will be able to get the mana reservation with just these 7 points here in order to run this exact setup here. Yeah. All in all, I'm going to be running the Thea 3 version of this build, which will end up leveling with Haunting Abomination main before swapping into Mind Control later on, but the gearing will basically be exactly the same. So if you end up having any questions about it, just pop into stream. I'll be around to answer anything you have, and then we'll take it from there. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and other than that, see you in the next one.